Like I said earlier, there's no point to a left party that's in bed with Wall Street. There's just no point, and the military-industrial complex, which they are.
Now, Jimmy Dore recently went on the Dad Saves America podcast to talk about a lot of issues, and among them, where the Democratic Party is and what's the only way to redeem them. Now, Jimmy comes from a completely different ideological background than I do. I'm more of a right-wing leaning libertarian, and he comes from the progressive left. But nonetheless, I thought in this segment, he made a lot of really good points that are hard to refute. So let's watch and let's react.
What do you see as the most likely path to being like a legitimate alternative to the new Republicans? Because right now the Democrats seem like a bus on fire in a ditch, in a in a dumpster. Like it just, I don't know why they even exist. Like as a meaningful political enterprise, like they don't have a vision that seems to. There's not one thing that they are stand for.
So like I said earlier, there's no point to a left party that's in bed with Wall Street. There's just no point, and the military-industrial complex, which they are. So now we have what people used to refer to as two right-wing parties, right? No, I don't even, again, the only anti-war people around are people in the Republican Party. So are they right-wing? Are they left-wing now because they're anti-war? Is Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, are they left-wing now? So again, those terms, but
even just as an alternative, just so that we have something like competition in our politics.
I mean, and they know how to make sure there isn't. They know how to make sure that there is a uniparty. Trump was a threat to the uniparty, the establishment Republicans and the establishment Democrats against him. And so, I mean, he would be, I guess, you could consider that maybe some people would consider that a third party, right?
Now, I'm with Jimmy Dore when he talks about the uniparty and what that represents, but I'm more along the lines of thinking that there's two left-wing parties, and that's completely undeniable when it comes to the growth of government and government spending. The Republicans are not going to cut back on the entitlement state. Doge will kind of maybe expose some things, but we've seen that this Congress, which is Republican dominated in both the House and the Senate, they passed a CR, which adds an incredible amount of debt. And same goes with like the tariffs. The tariffs used to be kind of a protectionist left idea, and now the Republicans are supporting it. There's many other issues like that, but in terms of the Overton window shifting to bigger government, it seems like we have more of a two left party system than two right wing parties. That's where I'll differ with Jimmy.
Right. It's certainly, but he's so popular right now that he can he can bully the Republican Party and threaten to primary people and stuff like that. And Elon Musk is doing this same thing. So
he got every one of his nominations.
So
which
maybe
was kind of amazing.
Maybe he can transform the Republican Party. Maybe that happens. But he's a billionaire. Elon Musk is the richest guy in the world. How much transformation is really going to happen? What I say, how you get to be a billionaire by helping people. And so, I mean, these guys are crushers. And so do they, nobody's talking about giving people a better functioning healthcare system, although RFK is talking about cleaning up the corruption and things like that, which is great, and cleaning up our food supply and finding out what's the cause of our chronic illnesses and the obesity epidemic. And so that's all that, but that's not a healthcare system, right? And so nobody, Trump, when he ran the first time, when he was running in 2020, he was like, I'm going to give everybody health care. How are you going to do it? I'm going to I know how to talk to the hospitals. And then, he didn't have a plan. He still doesn't have a plan, and nobody has a plan.
Well, let's just appreciate, I'm mostly with Jimmy on a lot of issues, but with this, a lot of the Democrats are calling for Medicare for all and college for all to expand the welfare state and make additional redistribution schemes when we're $36 trillion in debt. So the mainstream Democratic Party, a large segment of them are calling for this. Maybe not some of the kind of the more quote unquote moderates, but a lot of them are asking for that.
Buzzsaw that I don't know what will cause fundamental change in it. Maybe we'll see it in our lifetime. Switzerland, I'm telling you.
I'm saying public option. And there's no good argument against the public option. And your ratchet effect one is, I don't think that's very strong. And because you're just giving people choice, you can't be against giving people choice. No one's saying take away private health insurance. And if private insurance works so well, why would it ever go away? And why would people not want it?
If you wanted to really give people choice, go back before the US government got involved in healthcare in the first place. You might ask your grandparents about this. They had low premiums. They didn't have healthcare rationing. Oftentimes the doctor would even come to their house to treat them, and it was not nearly as expensive. Just look at any chart about the expense of healthcare and how the US government has been involved on a pinpointed chart, and you'll see it's skyrocketed since then. Pure choice requires getting the government out of healthcare, period.
We'll save the full-throated version of this for another time, Jimmy. I love you. I learn from you every week.
Oh, that's very sweet of you to say. Thank you very much.
I don't always agree, but I always feel enriched, even though you're just a jag-off comedian, as you
I feel the same about Jimmy, by the way.
like to say.
Well, my whole thing was I was always a C student, and I'm just a nightclub comedian. If I can see through this stuff, the people on TV who are supposed to see through it, they must also. You don't think that Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper know Russiagate was made up by the Clinton campaign and pushed by the FBI, and the Steele dossier was just opposition research paid for by the Clinton campaign. We all know all this stuff now.
It was really crazy to watch the like willful gaslighting. It is a function of sheer ignorance and that people would buy any of that. It's just like it was all there. You could see it. It's like the Hunter Biden laptop. It's like
just like that.
It's like, well, this was why is he on the board of Burisma? How is that not the most corrupt thing in the history of American politics? Like all of it was just so nuts. I know you got to get going. I ask this question of every guest. You know, the show's called Dad Saves America because from a positive perspective, I think that's one of the roles we as men can play in our lives that actually leads to a better future. Like if you're a man and you get to be a father, that's probably going to be the most important role you play, or one of them.
I'm not a father. I'm barren.
Well, given that, how do you think about your role in the American story?
Oh boy, I hope it is. I hope it's one of bringing people together and waking people up from party politics. That's what, I've had people some of my old friends who are Democrats say, "Oh, you have." Your job is you're turning Democrats into Republicans. And I'm like, that's not what I'm doing. I have just as many Republicans say, hey, thanks for helping me see through things. And I, didn't think of it this way until I watched your show. So my thing is that I really want to stop hating your neighbor. Your neighbor's not your enemy. Your neighbor is living through the same thing you're living through. You guys have the same enemies. They want you to think you're each other's enemy, and you're not.
This is so true, and Jimmy really practices what he preaches on this. He was at a rally, the biggest anti-war rally in decades in Washington, D.C., that the Libertarian Party and the People's Party put on in conjunction a few years back, and that he preached that same message. He said, we are brothers. We are joined together in this anti-war movement despite the fact that the regime wants to split us apart, inject culture war wedges and things like that. I think he's so right about this, and I'm so glad to know that there's people on the dissident left that feel the same way, like Jimmy.
You're all so come together along class lines. So that's what I hope my legacy is that I kind of woke people up from identity divisive politics and made them realize their commonality and bringing people together.
I'm so appreciative of Jimmy Dore. He's one of these people on the dissident left that's responsible for bringing people together on certain issues of much importance in my eyes, like the censorship regime, like the big pharma subsidies, and like the anti-war movement, that wouldn't have come together in any other way. I think the best point that he made in this segment was when he talked about it doesn't really make sense to even have a left-wing party if it's going to toe the Wall Street line, it's going to toe the CIA line, it's going to toe the big pharma line, and it's going to toe the military-industrial complex. As far as I'm concerned, despite our disagreements, and there are some, Jimmy's one of these people that unites people in a unique way, and I think he's invaluable for that. And in that respect, I think he ranks up there as far as one of my favorite figures in the dissident left, among, the Max Blumenthals and Glenn Greenwalds and Caitlin Johnstones that really have put anti-war messaging at the forefront. And when I met Jimmy for the first time last year, I thanked him for that. And I think that Jimmy's one of the good guys out there. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Jimmy had good ideas for how to redeem the Democrats? Do you think he understands where the Democratic Party is right now? Let me know in the comments below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until the next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out. I'll catch you on the next one.